to go and see them.
She's really
Vampire
into
Weekend,
them.
Or
I've taken her a couple of times, and she's very, very, to the point where I think it was the first time we saw them at Brixton, and she was singing along all the lyrics, and the teenagers that were next to us looked round and were like, "Who is this woman?" Their biggest fan. It's quite funny. So it all came because a few years ago she was going somewhere with a colleague and said, "Oh, could you lend me some CDs to make me sound cool?" And then she got really into them.
And you gave a Vampire Weekend?
Yeah.
If anyone knows Vampire Weekend, like personally out there, because like you said, we've got some fantastic and weird and wonderful listeners out there, then try and hook Tim's mum up with backstage access, because it sounds like she's their biggest fan. So that sounds cool. Excellent stuff. Well, I'm sure we'll hear about that in the off season. Shall we do news now?
Yeah, let's move on.
Let's move on.
Okay, and time for the news. And starting us off, Wigan and Huddersfield have each got 3 newcomers in the 34-man England Knights performance squad, which was announced last Tuesday, because all breaking news stories happen on Tuesday, as is the law.
This was a planned news story.
It was, true. Do you think it must be one outlet must prefer things on a Tuesday? That must be why they always release them. Anyway, Don Manfredi, who scored 2 tries in Wigan's Betfred Super League Grand Final victory over Warrington last autumn, that was a nice day, is joined by fellow winger Liam Marshall and the Blackpool-born former Barrow forward Joe Bullock. He's not former forward, he's a forward now, he's a former winger, lifting the Warriors' representation in the Knights performance squad to 5, as Tom Davies and Sam Powell also retained their places after impressing on the Knights tour of Papua New Guinea last autumn. Matty English, Adam O'Brien, Any Other Business, and probably is he the only player to have appeared on the podcast still?
I think he maybe is. Well, only current player, I would say. Back when he was playing for Bradford, we had him on for a brief interview a few years ago, didn't we? Yeah.
And Darnell McIntosh are the 3 Huddersfield newcomers. If we had
him on the podcast, we would be saying,
"What's going on with that hair?"
Yeah,
Lego man. Meaning the Giants also have 5 players in the squad, as Cruz Leeming and Oliver Roberts keep their places after their call-ups last year. Salford's experienced second row Josh Jones, the St Helens forward Jack Ashworth, Castleford's Gloucestershire-born forward Alex Foster, who, speaking of haircuts, there's someone that definitely needs a haircut, and Leeds Rhinos Cameron Smith are the other 4 newcomers. Mark, do you want to give us that squad in full?
Yes, we have Alex Foster, Oliver Holmes, Greg Minikin, all from the Castleford Tigers, Matt Whitley, who's now of the Catalans Dragons, Matty English, Cruz Leeming, Darnell McIntosh, Adam O'Brien, Oliver Roberts, as you said, are all Huddersfield Giants, Chris Atkin from Hull Kingston Rovers, Dean Hadley, Masambashi Matongo, who are from Hull FC. Then Ash Hanley, Mikolaj Aledzki, Cam Smith, Liam Sutcliffe and Jack Walker, who are from the Leeds Rhinos. Niall Evalds and Josh Jones, both from the Salford Red Devils. Jack Ashworth, Matty Lees, Danny Richardson, all from St Helens. James Batchelor from Trin. Toby King, Tom Lynham, Harvey Levette, Deck Patton, Joe Philbin and Danny Walker, who are all from the Warrington Wolves. So they've got 6 going on this time around. And then the Wigan 5, Bullock, Davies, Marshall, Manfredi and Powell. Any immediate thoughts on that squad? This squad is going to be playing some games, we're told. We just don't know when, where or against who, but we're expecting maybe 1 or 2 home internationals and potentially 1 in France too.
Yeah, there's no one that really particularly grates at me, to be honest. I think I'm obviously going to be drawn to moan about Liam Sutcliffe, because I don't think he's exactly an international quality player. Because where are you in that side with those players? Where are you thinking of playing him? Yeah,
I think he's the only player in this. Oh no, Oliver Holmes played for England last year as well, didn't he? In that game at the end of the season. Well, that's always the question with Liam Sutcliffe. You know, he's a talented player, but he's not a brilliant player at any one position. So, yeah. But then again, he still could be a potential future international, maybe. I still come back to what's the point of this squad? Like, I still don't quite understand.
Is this squad to prepare the next level of the... We've got an injury crisis in position Y, so we need the next level down. We need to go out to that next level down. Therefore, we want young players in here that are ready to move up. Is that what it is?
But then that brings you back to questioning the inclusion of someone like Holmes or Hadley or Josh Jones coming into the squad. Not that he's not deserved recognition for how well he's been playing this year, but it's just a bit weird. Sam Powell, he's in the sort of later half of his 20s now as well. I can understand when
Danny Richardson, who's not playing Super League.
True, but you could also argue maybe that a couple of the other players aren't playing regularly as well. So, Harvey Levette's not really playing week in, week out. Liam Marshall and Tom Davies are going to now find themselves out of the Super League side at Wigan with two world-class wingers ahead of two absolutely brilliant wingers. So there is a question of that. I like the inclusion of someone like Joe Bullock. I know he's in his mid-20s, but this is a guy who's got his chance at Super League and he's taking it. So this is now a chance for him to sort of demonstrate whether he can make another step up. I really think if this guy can sort out the energy situation at the end of his spells and not give away penalties at the end of his spells, this guy's got NRL coming calling sort of level of potential if he keeps developing at the speed he has.
I think at the very least he's the long-term or medium-term successor to Tony Clubb, isn't he?
Yeah,
in that playing that very similar role, and actually it's a very similar thing that he does to Tony Clubb. It's exactly what Tony Clubb has done for a few years: is give those penalties away stupidly towards the end of his spell.
I totally get that sort of inclusion because he's not yet proved himself at this level enough. So I can understand someone in the mid-20s like him, but I do like a lot of the young players in here. I do like the young forwards in this squad in particular. I'm talking about English, Ashworth, and Lees, and maybe Philbin as well to an extent. I like that. I like that group, and Matongo as well. I think these guys do need to be put in an environment where basically what are they going to do? They're going to end up going to training sessions at some point with the world-class forwards that England get to pull out and play, and I think that's good. So I like the idea of the Knights performance.
And part of it as well for me is forming a
mid-20s up selections.
Yeah, I think part of it's forming a nucleus that are going to go on to become the England squad in 5-10 years' time as well, so that they're used to each other and they're used to each other in camp and they've got that extra understanding if they've played together at Knights level. Yeah,
definitely, and there are players in this group that you see that as their future, don't you? Young Jack Walker, young James Batchelor, those sorts of guys, definitely. We might, yeah. I think that's it for me on the Knights squad, though.
Yeah, right. Let's move on.
Another England-related story is halfback Gareth Widdop has suffered a suspected dislocated right shoulder for a third time since last August. The 30-year-old, who joins Warrington next year, was injured during St George Illawarra's win over Brisbane. He missed the end of the 2018 NRL season and England's autumn internationals last year after needing surgery because he damaged the same shoulder twice in 5 weeks. I understand that he's now undergone a second surgery on that, which the recovery period from that is going to be 3 to 5 months, I think. So that's what I was reading over the weekend. So it seems like he'll be out for a while. We did get one listener view on this one. I think it was the only news story we did get anything on this week.
Yeah, it comes from Tom Andrews and says, wonder if Warrington have an injury get-out clause. The problem with signing players this early is you don't know what condition they'll arrive in. It's like buying a Bentley and having someone drive it round the Nürburgring for 10 months during a destruction derby and hope it's still in decent condition when you take delivery.
Any thoughts on that?
I think there's always clauses? I imagine there must be some sort of basic fitness, because what if he went and put a load, Sandow off during the off season and turns up 40 kilos overweight? Do they have some sort of get out then that he's not in a good enough condition to do his job?
Well, I know in the NFL, like some players have like clauses built into the contracts where if they're above a certain weight, they have to forfeit a certain amount of their pay and things like that. So I don't know about that, but I guess teams take out insurance of some sort, don't they? On these sorts of things.
The only thing is if he's not contracted to them, then it won't necessarily apply because it will be a sort of pre-existing condition.
Yeah, I know, but they could possibly insure it from when the contract starts. It might be a higher premium, it might be different, but it's definitely an interesting thing. But do we think it's the same injury a few times over, so that's a worry, but do we think it's really a huge concern? Do you think he could come over here and play potentially without having to put his shoulder into too many tackles?
Well, if you look at Cooper Cronk at the end of last year, the way he was able to play injured for, without any shoulder, so I think he probably could, and I think when given a proper, if he doesn't try and come back, if he actually invests some time into his recovery and gets himself fit and ready for pre-season, and then has a full pre-season, which in reality he probably wouldn't have done because he probably would have been involved in Great Britain, in the Great Britain squad. Therefore, if he has a full pre-season where he's able to rest, then that's actually probably that could well work out better for Warrington than had he played every game this year and gone on the Great Britain tour and turned up knackered.
Yeah, potentially. He's certainly going to be rested. I think we shall see. I wouldn't write it off. As a huge concern at this stage. But hopefully he gets himself fixed up and can be part of that England group in the Great Britain group this year in the end of season internationals. Okay, shall we rattle through a few? Do you want to start with what Salford have been up to this week?
Yeah. Super League side Salford Red Devils have signed the experienced New Zealand and Samoa international back Christian He's Just Not That Inu. The 32-year-old played in the NRL for 7 seasons before joining Catalan in 2015 and the Widnes Vikings in 2017.
Leeds Rhinos forward Carl Ablett has been ruled out for up to 6 weeks following surgery on an ankle injury. Ablett, who's 33, was set to return from a knee problem against Hull FC this month, but was injured during the warm-up. I didn't realise someone could be ruled out if they were already not going to get selected.
Yeah, interesting for someone that's not actually played a game. York have handed outside back Ash Robson a new 2-year deal. The 23-year-old will remain with his hometown club until the end of the 2021 season. However, Robson's also received some bad news after scans revealed he suffered an ACL injury in last month's defeat at the Bradford Bulls. He is expected to miss the rest of the season.
Yeah, and do you want to do the other line on York, actually? That maybe is his replacement for the rest of the season.
York have signed outside back Nick Rossborn on a month-long loan deal from Toronto.
I think he started there, didn't he, before he went to Hull and Toronto?
He did, yeah.
Another line on the Championship. Sky Sports have delivered a boost to the Betfred Championship with confirmation that they will provide extensive and exclusive coverage of the Summer Bash in Blackpool in May. There were some doubts around whether this was going to happen, but it's now been confirmed, which is great for all of us.
Yep, so you could get that recorded while you're over in Barcelona.
Yep, chomping down the tapas, having a great time.
That sounds like a euphemism. Let's move on and keep... Lee.
I need top all in for the tapas.
If you're chomping down on it, you might well do. Lee centre Jack Higginson has joined Rochdale on a month's loan. Higginson is 21, joined the Centurions in the off-season from Wigan, having played for Ireland in last autumn's European Championship, which was, of course, won by Wales.
Sticking sort of with Ireland in a way, former Ireland international Simon Finnegan has left his role as assistant coach with the Toronto Wolfpack to become head coach of League One club Newcastle Thunder. Finnegan, who's 37, had been with the Wolfpack since their formation in 2016, is the first appointment of Newcastle's new director of rugby, Dennis Betts, who coached him during his time in charge of Widnes, so he knows him well. So Finnegan's getting his first chance at being a head coach there at Newcastle. Interesting that they've recruited from outside. That wasn't maybe what we anticipated.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see what happens to the two assistants, Michael Hallop, is it, and Tim Rumford, who are there and have been in caretaker charge, whether they still have a role going forward. I obviously hope they do. Keighley have signed Matty Nicholson and Liam Wellham for both who've got brothers elsewhere in the game for the rest of the season. Nicholson, who's a prop